The story shortly, but first tonight on Your Story at 7, the UK has accused social media giants Facebook, Twitter and YouTube of helping terror groups unknowingly. The country's Home Affairs Minister says the sites allow algorithms to radicalize people and draw them to other material which supports hateful actions. A UK Labour MP says that YouTube recommended her to subscribe to a white supremacist video. She's now urging social media sites not to automatically pull people into such content. This meeting comes just days after it was discovered that Google searches were leading people to terror manuals, and as a result, Google has now redirected its strategy in the United Kingdom. Google says 10,000 people will identify and remove such content by the end of next year. And earlier this week, Twitter cracked down on hate speech and suspended the accounts of two British far-right groups which had 3 anti-Muslim videos. Now, Twitter says it will crack down on white nationalists and violent groups and also sift through those who have offensive posts or messages even on their username that promote hate. Twitter will first ask people to delete the tweet. If they are a repeat offender, then it will only provide them read-only access. And if they continue to do so, it will finally block them and ban them from the social media site. Well, marriages in India have always been a grand affair for most of the people in the country, whether you're attending it or whether you're in the wedding. But most of the wedded couples end up receiving the usual and boring gifts. Sometimes it's cash, sometimes it's box gifts. But a couple in the South Indian city of Bengaluru chose to go a little unique. For their wedding gift, they asked for Bitcoins as presents on their wedding day. Well, founder of the tech company Prashant Sharma and Niti Sri requested the Bitcoins at their wedding for a unique present 4 days before their December the 9th wedding. India's central bank had issued its latest warning, highlighting the dangers of investing in Bitcoins, but this still did not affect the couple's wedding guests. More than 90% of the guests attending the wedding gave the Bitcoins as a wedding gift, totaling about $1,600. The couple say they have decided to sell the Bitcoins they've so far received to fund initiatives that educate underprivileged children. What a noble gesture. Well, the creator of the first and most popular cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, reaches a list of the 50 most richest people in the world, according to Forbes magazine. But the identity of the creator still remains a mystery. So who is this person? The mystery behind the man the pseudonym is Satoshi Nakamoto. The person who is credited with creating Bitcoins, the cryptocurrency, is one of the most intoxicating enigmas of recent years. So far, it is believed that he is a Japanese-American citizen who back in 2008, through his research paper, started the revolution that allows the transfer of Bitcoin with the use of peer-to-peer technology. In 2016, Australian entrepreneur Craig Wright claimed that he is Nakamoto. Well, the truth of the matter still, though, remains a mystery. Nakamoto could be alive, be dead, or he or she, no one really knows, or it could be a group of individuals. But the mystery still remains. Well, 1/3 of India living in an urban setting, the data on waste disposal and pollution levels has relieved a disturbing trend. According to the World Health Organization, the air pollution database in India has 10 of the 20 most polluted cities in the world. Take a look at that list on your screen right now. Patna makes a list. Delhi, Kanpur, Lucknow ranking in the top 20. Quite a few there, including the nation's capital, which has typically been ranked as one of the worst polluted cities in the world, sometimes at neck with Beijing. Well, back in November this year, when the particulate matter in the air reached the extremely dangerous zone, a clear link was found between stubble burning in the states of Punjab and the rise in pollution levels in the Delhi NCR region. According to the survey, the data recorded by India's Ministry of Urban Development, Indore is India's cleanest city. So certainly good news. So let's take a look at the list there. India ranking at the cleanest, followed by Bhopal, Visakhapatnam, and Surat and Mysuru in the top 5. Well, from 2018 next year, the Indian government plans on assigning star ratings to cities based on their cleanliness levels. The cities will also be categorized from 1 to 7 stars. Currently, Kolkata is the most polluted city in India. This has triggered an alert from the World Health Organization as environmentalists have demanded immediate action on the lines of the drastic measures taken in New Delhi just a few weeks back when the air quality there started dipping. But neither the state government nor the Kolkata Municipal Corporation has reacted to the crisis until now. Well, just recently, smog levels in Mumbai as well had also mysteriously spiked. Local trains were delayed, people were left stranded and wondering about the possible cause. India's financial capital of Mumbai is usually smog-free because of the sea breeze. While experts have pinned New Delhi's toxic air on crop and stubble burning, scientists have found another reason, and it's actually a foreign one. Here's the culprit.
India's capital, New Delhi, has been wheezing with pollutants, from the residues of crop and stubble burning to vehicular fumes, from West Asian dust storms. Multiple factors have been dubbed responsible. And now experts are looking at Afghanistan as another agent adding to this hazard. According to scientists, airborne particles from the salt mines of Afghanistan are getting pumped into Delhi air. The discovery was made when the Central Pollution Control Board tried to track the source of salt in the winds. While at first it was believed to be coming from the Bay of Bengal or the Arabian Sea, it was later traced to Afghanistan. Since during winter the wind comes in from the north or northwest, ruling out the sea salt theory.
We undertook a study using the trajectory models of the US government's National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That is when we found out that the salt particles were coming from those areas of Afghanistan which have large salt pans.
A study by CPCB undertaken during the winter months has revealed that about 11% of PM 2.5 pollutant were salt particles. Experts also found metals such as chromium and copper in the city's air. These, however, have been circled back to electroplating industries in Haryana. Last month, a West Asian dust storm was looked at as the chief trigger behind the menace in Delhi's air. The contribution of the dust storm to the city's air pollutants was 40%, eclipsing emissions from stubble burning, which were at 25%. So it seems that once again, foreign factors are fueling a situation already at its direst in New Delhi. Your report, WION.
A trio of U.S., Japanese and Russian astronauts have now reached the International Space Station to start their 5-month scientific expedition. Here's what they'll discover.
A warm hug in space. It's the 54th expedition to the International Space Station in 17 years, and 3 new crew members went through their rehearsed steps, or should we say flips, before settling down and speaking back to Earth.
My answer about the new landing date, by working with these magnificent, super nice, experienced astronauts, colleague astronauts, I'm learning a lot every day from everybody in this room. So by adding extra dates, weeks for the mission, I hope I'm gonna learn more and more from my commander and my colleague in space station.
Gunnar is from Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency and on his first trip to the ISS. It is the first trip to the space station for NASA's Scott Tingle as well. He is all praise for his new home away from home.
Before I joined the community, I would not have thought that would have been possible. But after meeting all of the magnificent people that work on this program around the world, it does not surprise me that we're going to probably surpass 25 years of operation with the world's greatest engineering marvel ever.
Gunnar Tingle and Russia's Anton Shkaplerov blasted off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on Sunday. After a 2-day journey, they reached the space station, which had been occupied by 3 other astronauts since September. More than 200 people from 18 countries have carried out over 2,100 research experiments at the space station over the years. 400 kilometers above the Christmas and New Year celebrations on Earth, these 6 men are on a lonely and silent scientific mission for 5 months to broaden scientific research and understanding of new technologies. Bureau Report, WION.
All right, so what do you get if you cross a coffee with a selfie? Well, Selfieccino has become a new rage in London thanks to a cafe that's taking barista art to a new level.
Central London's Tea Terrace Cafe has become a rage among its customers after achieving a unique feat. It has become Europe's first location to deliver Selfieccino, meaning a selfie on the cappuccino. So how is this unique Selfieccino prepared? Customers first click their selfies and send it to the cafe through an app. They have two options as their canvas, a cappuccino or hot chocolate. The image is uploaded to the machine while the drink is placed in position. The picture is scanned and with the help of flavorless food coloring, it is replicated onto the froth. A total of 4 minutes is what it takes to get your picture on the froth and costs around 5.75 pounds or $7.5.
I don't know how the machine actually works because I can't actually imagine my face being on the foam. So it's really interesting how the machine really works, you see. Yeah.
And you happy with how it looks?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I can't expect much with colors and all that because it's just a foam after all. So, but I mean, the outcome is really it looks exactly like what's in the picture. So it's really great.
The cafe is getting an overwhelming response and the owners couldn't have asked for more.
It's been amazing. We introduced it just 3 days ago, and since then we've done over 400 of them, and customers are coming specifically for that. When we introduce the concept to people, they say, "Oh, we already know about it. We've seen it on television, or we've seen it on Facebook or Instagram," and people are just amazed by it. It's something very unique, very different, and people are thirsty for new concepts that they can show off to their friends or to post on Instagram or Snapchat.
This quaint cafe in central London hopes to make waves with its Selfieccino and has already sold over 400 personalised drinks ever since its launch last week. Bureau Report, WION.
Moving on now to Afghanistan's raisin houses. They're getting a facelift in an effort to boost productivity. Here's why.
Drying grapes in the traditional Afghan way. Farmer Abdul Jalil Gulzar still uses the matchshed built by his father 65 years ago. It's a method that he's sticking to, despite efforts to modernize the industry in one of the world's top 10 raisin producers.
We use this as a very good cold storage facility. As you can see, these raisins have been stored here since last year.
Decades of war have driven Afghanistan's share of the global raisin market to around just 3%. To boost productivity, farmers are turning to more efficient techniques, like these modern sheds that are cleaner, hold more grapes and dry them faster.
I think every farmer should be helped to get one of these raisin houses. There are more than 100 grape farms in our village, but only I got this one, and that's it.
Since the end of Taliban rule, Afghanistan has become the world's biggest opium producer, with poppy cultivation at an all-time high. As agriculture is the main driver of the Afghan economy, fruit farming is seen as a viable alternative. But accessing wider markets is still a struggle. Some raisin exporters are going high-tech to meet the tough requirements of global customers.
Our international clients always like Afghanistan's raisins, but the main point is to be able to process and pack our raisins based on international standards.
For now, Gulzar is following in the same footsteps as generations of his family, happy to hold on to old ways, while others embrace the new.
Well, equal rights is still a work in progress in France. The country's housing and transport network are adding to the troubles of the disabled. Here's a report.
Elodie Le Sao suffers from spinal muscular atrophy, a degenerative disease which leads to the destruction of muscles and the complete paralysis of limbs over time. She needs a carer with her 24 hours a day. In 2014, she was accepted at one of Paris's most prestigious universities, Sciences Po. But because she's disabled, finding suitable accommodation in the capital meant years of bureaucratic battles.
Even if laws and rules are usually national, it doesn't work out like that. Each academy does what it wants.
And the local authority for disabled persons refused to recognize her need for 24-hour care.
My mother was recognized for 8 hours out of 24. That was going to be a problem, because 8 hours in Paris or elsewhere, far from my family, I can't count on a family member.
Le Sao didn't give up. She moved from home to home, making noise in local papers, and even sending letters to France's First Lady, Brigitte Macron. And in 2017, local authorities finally recognized her need for 24-hour care, and she was awarded her flat. But housing isn't the only area where France's handicapped community feel let down. In Paris, the transport network is a nightmare for people in wheelchairs.
Normally, it should take me 20 to 30 minutes to go to Sciences Po. But I can only take the bus. The RER train isn't really accessible in Paris. The RER-B train is, but it's quite complicated. You have to notify transport staff ahead of time, and it's rather annoying.
Le Sao says that lack of awareness also exists at an individual level.
People can sometimes be attentive, but they're so often in their element, in another world, that they don't pay attention to what they're doing and who's around them.
Elodie Le Sao knows her body is letting her down, but that isn't stopping her from keeping up her campaign for change. And with 12 million people in France registered as handicapped or minorly incapacitated, her legacy could help improve the lives of others and generations to come.
All right, breaking news now coming into the newsroom. The World Baloch Organization has launched its free Balochistan human rights awareness campaign in New York City. This comes after a successful month of implementing the campaign in London. The New York campaign has kicked off with more than 100 taxis carrying advertisements with the slogan, with text that read, "Free Balochistan from human rights abuses by Pakistan." In London, the campaign received positive feedback from the public, including from the Baloch diaspora in the United Kingdom. Well, despite repeated attempts by the Pakistani government to shut down the campaign in London, the UK's Advertising Standards Authority ruled against Pakistan's bid to censor the adverts, acknowledging their legitimate, humanitarian and peaceful characterization. All right, let's go straight to WION's associate editor and correspondent. We have Palki Sharma Upadhyay joining us now with the very latest. Getting luck in London and now more luck in New York. What can we expect? Do we think Pakistan may try to hamper this as well in the Big Apple?
Pakistan takes it very seriously, of course, and Pakistan wants world powers to not give the Baloch a platform. And yet we have seen protests in London, we've seen protests in Geneva, we've seen protests in New York. Balochistan remains a serious issue in Pakistan. Remember, this is a province that's central to the CPEC project, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. The ethnic Baloch are being pushed out. The Pakistani military, along with the government, is fomenting trouble in the region, giving more real estate and jobs to the Chinese who are developing the Gwadar port. And these people, the ethnic Baloch, are being pushed out of their own province. There are reports that WION has done, Arjit. Going into Balochistan, we are the first and only Indian channel that has reported extensively from the ground in Balochistan, and we know for a fact that there is a plan that has been rolled into motion to make the Baloch an ethnic minority in their own province. So they have been pushed to the wall, and they're trying to raise their voice across the world to get international attention, to put pressure on Pakistan, to put pressure on Islamabad and Rawalpindi to undo the wrongs. And
Palki, interestingly as well, this comes at an interesting time as Pakistan is sort of under pressure from the United States when it comes to dealing with situations like Hafiz Saeed, and now the situation of the Baloch in the Big Apple. Certainly New York, quite a huge presence there, especially with the cabs, and really putting this issue of the Baloch on the global spotlight in New York City.
Yes, if you had to get world attention, what better than the iconic yellow cabs in New York? And that's what the Baloch are aiming at, to get the world to see their plight and to understand what is going on. Pakistan very conveniently blames India for all these problems. But the fact is that these people have not seen development. These people do not have jobs. What they have instead is terrorist outfits being pushed by the Pakistan military in their hometowns, their jobs being taken away, the Chinese taking over. They're pumping in a lot of money, but it's not bringing any benefits to these people, and which is why they're protesting. There are movements, secessionist movements, as Islamabad calls them, saying that foreign powers are behind these. But the fact is that these are people who are calling for independence. Many of them, senior Baloch leaders, have asked India for asylum. They've asked countries in the West for asylum, and they want support, moral and financial, to ensure that their people are protected from the Pakistani state.
All right, Palki, thank you so much for all of those updates and insights and sharing the story of the Baloches. We appreciate that input. Again, a quick recap. More advertising continues in New York City after the campaign in London. And that's all the time that we have for this edition of Your Story. Everyone has a story to share. If you have one, let us know on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm Archit Seshadri. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good night.